What is going on, Movie Meals? Yes, I'm darkly lit. It just is how it is going to be today. Maybe Kyle can fix that in post. We'll find out.
Just bump up that brightness in Photoshop. That's all you need to do. Just take that dial all the way
Crank
to
her up.
100. Always looks good.
We're here to talk. Last week, neither of us were feeling 100%. And if we don't film soon, we gotta, because Kyle's heading off to CinemaCon, boots on the ground, baby.
Yep. Gonna be there for work. But
Yeah,
it'll
well,
be
thank you.
exciting.
Thank you, Moomeel patrons. Kimberly Karen, go get some merch, all that good stuff. Linked in the description. So Kyle's going to start with a couple of bite-sized reviews for you from Novocaine and Black Bag. Kyle, what'd you think of them?
Novocaine is a lot of fun. I think it's a great theater experience just to have like big laughs and big pops of action throughout. Jack Quaid is awesome in the lead role. Not to where you see him transform into like an action superstar or anything like that, but just because he's entertaining. Like he is able to carry the movie and get you through the emotions of like his journey and getting you through like the big laughs when they count the most. Like he really knows just when to nail down his marks and be charismatic enough to be able to carry the movie. I don't think the villain characters that he's opposite against were great because they're getting a lot more screen time than I was realizing, and I just don't think they really stuck the landing. That's probably my biggest critique, but otherwise, I just had a fun time with this movie. The laughs worked for me, and the action was a lot more bloodier than I was anticipating, even for its R rating. So, if you want to get shocked by the amount of gore that comes out of it, surprisingly, this is a really fun one.
What'd you think of Black Bag?
Funny. It was funny because I was looking forward to this one from Steven Soderbergh. I think during the movie I half liked it and half didn't like it, but I'm glad that I watched this movie like a few weeks ago and am now starting to talk about it because I thought about it more and it's really grown on me. And I think that movie will have that effect on people. It's a spy movie. It's about like couples learning to trust each other throughout the job. Just kind of like as spy movies go, it's just filled with deceit, yet it's like sexy at the same time for them. So it's like cat and mouse chase, trying to outsmart everyone type of situation. And it's dialogue heavy. It's not like action heavy. So for some audiences, that could be a turnoff. But I do think it's a plus for this movie. It doesn't work completely, I would say, but it's still, looking back on it, I just see like the pieces coming together and like the thought process Soderbergh had for making the movie, and it's grown on me. And I think that's the case for this movie. Maybe they won't initially be head over heels for it coming out of it, but I think in the end it'll warm up to you quite a bit. Michael Fassbender's great in the lead role. Cate Blanchett is awesome opposite of him, and there is a great surrounding cast around them too. It's very cinematography wise, it's very sleek and sexy, and almost like in an old school type of way, but also still modern enough to where it's not totally a blast from the past necessarily. So, just some clever tricks with the lighting and the camera work from Soderbergh to make it feel sexy and sensual, yet very interesting, and like the secrets that are going on with the plot. So, I warmed up to Black Bag quite a bit after seeing it 2 weeks ago now.
Nice. What do you want to get to next? I want to check those movies out. Haven't had a chance. Going to see Princess Mononoke later today. Sounds like Kyle's also seeing that.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
IMAX.
Going to be really cool.
You kidding me?
It's going to be awesome. I miss going to IMAX.
We all do. Mm-hmm. We're going to the big one, the one that shows like 70 millimeter film here. Chose to shell out a little bit.
We're going to the only one.
True.
A lot different in Montana, that's for sure.
Let's move to Avengers.
All right.
That's a big talk. I pulled
Did
the list up here.
Okay, good. I don't have the list.
They announce I just got on the social medias and saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh my God, tomorrow the Marvel's doing this huge announcement, big announcement. What could it be? What could it be?" And then it was a super long live stream of just directors' chairs and announcing like something like 50 names. I've got a list in the order they were announced here. Pulled from IMDb. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Letitia Wright for Shuri, Black Panther, Paul Rudd for Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell for John Walker, the U.S. Agent. I'm going to butcher his name, Tenoch As Namor,
Might be Tanakh.
to knock.
Could be that too.
Apologies, as Namor, which that pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Our cousin himself as Ben Grimm. We got our boy Simu coming for Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh, for Yelena, Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy returning, Lewis Pullman as Sentry, Danny Ramirez as the Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen for Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Rebecca... how do you say your last name as Mystique? Rebecca
Romaine?
Romaine? Is that how you say it?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head as well.
The original Mystique?
I don't remember. Yeah,
James
she's
Marsden
terrific.
as Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic were the kind of massive names announced. I don't believe there's anybody that was not on there.
RDJ finished it off.
And
in person on the
RDJ,
stream. Yeah. And many more to come, according to Marvel.
Yeah, I know Jeff Snyder reported that the reason Tom Holland as Spider-Man is not in it is because he's hearing that that the events of Spider-Man 4 are taking place at the exact same time as Doomsday.
Oh, okay.
And that is the reason why, which is interesting. So Doomsday was supposed to be the Kang one, right?
Yeah, I believe.
What was
so.
the original title with Kang in the title? What was it? It was Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then it changed to Doomsday, and then the next one is Secret Wars. So my guess is that this movie will be all these people slowly coming together to the point where they all meet in the battle arena that will then eventually be Secret Wars.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I mean, I don't know if they're going to jump headfirst into all of a sudden this X-Men team from another universe comes to our world and it's just like them teaming up the whole way through. Maybe we do just see them on the different Earths figuring out like, oh, we need to meet at an arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever it's supposed to meet.
So
maybe the Doomsday is just that.
There were notable names not here, not just Spidey. Mark Ruffalo, no Hulk. Tatiana Maslany, no She-Hulk. No Kate Bishop. No Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. No Kamala Khan from just Miss Marvel. And spoilers right now for the most recent episode of Daredevil. I believe, Kyle, you've seen it?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
So spoilers for that right now. If you haven't watched it, I would mute us for about 30 seconds. But they bring up Miss Marvel. The dad is in that episode, is in one of the most recent episodes of Daredevil, which I thought was a really nice touch because Miss Marvel is really fun. It's a really good show. It's one of the better things they've put out since kind of the downfall we've had here. But
yeah.
All right, you can, if you've unpaused, good job.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange. No, Doctor Strange is a big one, especially because he does play a role in Secret Wars as kind of being the right-hand man. There are rumors I've seen that people have said, what if Chris Evans is actually in this movie? Guys, he is in this movie, isn't he? Isn't he supposed to be coming back as somebody?
I thought I heard, but they didn't say who.
The rumor I've heard people go around now is that he's going to play Tony Stark in this other universe. Which would be interesting. Look, I've got a little bit of an annoyance. I heard a lot of the younger fans that I now tune into talking about, and a lot of just people in general talking about how this was a bad announcement. Don't build it up just to do the chairs. I actually think the chairs was kind of fun. It didn't need to be this insane live stream that took forever, but I thought that was kind of fun. But honestly, at the end of the day, the true answer is I wish they didn't do an announcement. Don't do this. Put it in a trailer. Give us a couple teases of some of these people. Kelsey Grammer, you throw that in a trailer, that's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. That's really fun. Namor, oh, my goodness. And then in the movie, show me the rest of the other 20 people. Let me enjoy it. They're probably trying. Go ahead.
Real quick, it's probably hard to have the excuse now of, well, only the diehards were really paying attention to the casting announcement. Like, for general audiences, they're going to be surprised by something, and yet we've seen
argument.
that
Yeah,
that live stream got like 7 million views or something ridiculous.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's
I've
a
seen
lot
that.
of people outside of the small fan group that now know about this
No, yeah,
cast.
that just doesn't exist anymore. That just isn't the thing anymore. It's just not. Everybody knows about it. I mean, everybody's just seeing fake things on Facebook and stuff too. Like
Oh, a lot of
I saw
Photoshop,
I saw a
like,
fun
yeah.
video. There's been this fan made fake trailer for a Tom Holland Back to the Future reboot that's been out for like years. That's
Oh,
just
of
this
course.
fan made trailer. I saw a video where somebody showed that to her dad, and her dad was like, "I can't believe they're rebooting this. I can't believe it." And she was like, "Dad,
Mm,
that is fake." And he's
yeah.
like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, she did it like showing him on purpose." But um, I've also seen people say, "Well, this essentially just spoiled the ending of Thunderbolts." We know that all of them are going to survive.
That's a weird complaint to me. Like, who was really caring about, or not caring? I shouldn't word it like that. But who was worried about like the ending of Thunderbolts? I don't
Like them
know. I mean,
dying.
I don't know. I just never got that vibe that it was that type of movie. I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to Thunderbolts. I actually think it looks pretty decent, but
And the
it's not me just
rumor
being a
is that it's
hater.
very
But
good.
yeah, I mean, trailers look good.
Um, I've seen a lot of people complain about some of the people not involved, like Captain Marvel or Hulk, and how they're in some end credit scenes of like Shang-Chi and things like that.
Hmm.
And here's what I think this Avengers Doomsday is going to be. After
A
Fantastic Four,
mess.
a miss? No.
No, a mess. But
Oh, a
I'm
mess.
partially joking. Partially
I
joking.
I think it's going to be that after Fantastic Four, it's going to start off with Falcon gathering a new group, um, having a new group of all these different people, grabbing the Thunderbolts, not being able to get in contact with some people. Like, why would Falcon be in contact with Captain Marvel? There is no
Mm-hmm.
reason that he knows her outside of being at a funeral together,
Mm-hmm.
because he's not around when Captain Marvel started becoming a full-time Avenger working with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The other notable misses I think people brought up a lot was the new Guardians, that none of the new Guardians were announced,
Yeah, that's a
which
good
I'm
point.
not sure is super shocking. I think a lot of these characters and older, these actors don't want to be in it anymore. I don't think Chris Pratt wants to do it without Gunn. There's now been all these reports over the years that like Gunn didn't like how the Russos handled his characters. Apparently, there's reports that Taika Waititi was really upset with how they handled like what they did with Thor, giving him his eye back and all these things. Granted, then he went on to make Love and Thunder. But um, I think it's just going to start with Falcon gathering a new team. He's not in contact with anybody. He probably will try to get Spidey. Spidey says, I can't, I'm not doing that anymore. He can't do it anymore. And then it'll eventually come to a collision where he doesn't, all these characters we are wondering about that might actually come back. Like you'd think Mark Ruffalo would be open to coming back compared to some other actors who have been in it for a while. Or
Mm.
we know Dr. Benedict Cumberbatch still has movies under his belt for Avengers. It's probably going to be Spider-Man gathering the few OGs left after the end of this movie, being like, we got to go help them. That's probably how this movie's going to end.
Oh yeah,
With
maybe.
them all stuck in this battle world or whatever, and then Spider-Man's like, we got to get him out. Let me go get the few people left.
They fell into some sort of battle world.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who knows? I still am pretty optimistic.
Who
I think,
knows?
look, the Russos have struggled heavily since doing Marvel. Their Marvel
Mhm.
track record is also very fun and very good. I mean, the amount of hate that Endgame has suddenly now gotten over the years, and some of those older movies have suddenly just now everybody hates them, and it's like when you walked out of that theater for a year after
Is
that
that what's
movie came
happening?
out, everybody, oh yeah, you haven't heard all that?
I heard that people aren't as high on Endgame as maybe Infinity War, but that's mostly it. I don't
No, I've
hear
heard that too, but I've heard now like
not
I've just heard
revisionist
some
history
wild
for.
complaints. I have.
Huh,
I have heard
wow.
just wild things.
I'm sure you're right. Yeah.
I'm really happy Shang-Chi's in this. His movie is so good. I
Mm,
love the first one. I'm excited for the second. I want to see some
yeah.
awesome martial arts. Get them 10 rings flying.
Well, with no sequel being announced for him and the director moving from that movie
I thought they
to,
did announce a sequel for him, and then they pause it.
I haven't heard anything about a sequel.
Oh
Maybe I
no,
missed
we've
that,
talked about that.
but the director is working on Spider-Man 4 now. It just made me be like, I don't what they're being weird about this movie. I don't know why, because it was pretty good, like coming out of the pandemic and all things considering. So I don't know. I don't know why I've heard like nothing about it. So yeah, I was happy to see him come back into the fold at least. Uh, Namor being included
Love it.
was a surprise. That
Pleasantly
one
though.
surprised me quite a bit.
Pleasantly. That makes me excited because he's a cool villain. He was a cool villain in Black Panther too.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked that the X-Men from the Fox days
No, no.
were coming back. That didn't shock me. I guess some of the names shocked me a little, like
Channing
Alan
Tatum's
Cumming.
interesting.
Channing
But Alan
Tatum's
Cumming,
interesting.
Alan Cumming coming back though, when I read that was like, okay, that's cool. Because his Nightcrawler is awesome. It's awesome. And he
Yeah.
is like when they announce some of these OGs, it's like, all right, we kind of knew James Marsden probably. I think the biggest surprises truly are Magneto and Ian McKellen as this old man coming back.
Yeah.
And then I think I don't know. I think Nightcrawler is a cool addition. I think that's a cool extra pick, way more than like Beast and Kelsey Grammer. And I like them, but like I think Nightcrawler is a fun pick.
I bet that had a pop for a lot of people. Not like I was watching live streams of people reacting to like the chairs or whatever, but I would imagine Alan Cumming was one that really had a good pop. Makes me wonder. Oh, you go, Alex.
I saw a video of him after the announcement and him being like really, really excited to be back.
Oh, nice.
So, and that brings you some joy, but go ahead.
Oh, it just makes me wonder how this X-Men team is going to look. I mean, I know that we saw that James Marsden's coming back from the OG group, and we saw that Alan Cumming's coming back from the OG group, but at the same time, it's like not everyone was like announced to be brought back. Anna Paquin or Halle Berry.
Yeah. And Halle wants to be back. She's low-key been isn't she the one that said she would come back for Deadpool and Wolverine? I thought there was one former X-Men that came out and was like, I would have, like, if they had asked me, but no one asked me, like, so I think it was Halle Berry. I think she would be an interesting pull. No Ryan Reynolds or Wolverine with Hugh either. I know a lot of people have been upset that they were not announced, but I know you are not huge on Deadpool Wolverine, but a lot of people really are.
But I was anticipating it. But it does make me wonder, despite exactly despite all of these names and the possible complaints of being like, well, there's nothing to get excited for. There's nothing that's going to be a surprise. Like, I don't know. Maybe they haven't gotten enough names. They haven't gotten the rest of the names yet. I have no idea.
Who is a surprise, I think, when I saw the name that shocked me. When I saw Thor, I was like, that makes sense. He's openly talked about how he got too into the shtick of Thor. I still think Fat Thor, say that 5 times fast. I think that works in Endgame personally, and I think the way to try to get around that in Love and Thunder didn't work. I think he wants to come back and do justice to the character and to be kind of old school Thor again and be a little bit more strong and a little more well-minded and stuff. But I think Loki coming back is really interesting. Honest to God, I missed Loki coming back until I read it here. I didn't even know he was part of the list because I hadn't fully read everything yet. But I mean, spoilers for the end of his show, but like he becomes a new character, doesn't he? He takes the mantle of like he gets a different name or something.
Yeah, like the embodiment of time and space and
maybe
love. I don't know, something
I wonder if maybe he's not in it much, and maybe a lot of these people aren't necessarily in the movie a huge amount, other than like some of the people we assume, like the Fantastic Four and stuff. But maybe he's the reason that these worlds collide at all.
Could be a red.
Could you imagine situation. Imagine if this movie opens with Loki just sitting on that throne, keeping everything together, and all of a sudden Doom shows up. And it's a cold open where Doom just kills him, and it forces And maybe that's what brings Thor in, and it
They
forces the
kill
worlds to
Loki
collide.
again at the start
Do it
of
for
two
the
Avengers
100th time,
movies.
Kyle. Keep it going.
God, it would work. It'd be a
It
good
did work
hook.
in. It works in Infinity War. That cold open is great in Infinity
Yeah,
War. God,
yeah.
Infinity War is so good. I still get shivers and chills when some of those scenes hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to do a big rewatch of all the movies in release order leading up to this Avengers. I think would be kind of fun. Some stuff
You gotta do release order.
yeah, you gotta. Some stuff we agreed to skip. Like when we really get down to, the She-Hulks and, the post-COVID stuff, we're down to skip some things, but
Yeah,
uh, I want
that's
to
fair.
do the OGs up to at least Endgame and then Shang-Chi and some of the ones I enjoyed after, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, any other thoughts you got on this big giant announcement here from Marvel?
I do hope that, despite the nostalgia being a big hit for audiences for these upcoming Avengers movies, I hope that it doesn't hurt when the X-Men movies get rebooted and a new cast gets announced. I hope that it just doesn't make them be like, everyone be like, but I miss the old crew. I'd rather have the old crew back and not look forward to like the next entry of X-Men movies. Because I'm really curious to see what the cast is going to be and what X-Men looks like as movies in this day and age.
I
That's what
agree.
I'm looking forward to. But I hope that bringing back the old characters doesn't negate excitement for a new one.
Well, I mean, there's talk that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, so that because we know she's in Spidey 4. That is officially announced.
Yeah,
We
let's
just
jump to
don't know
that.
who she's playing. But
A redhead. That's all we
yeah,
know.
but that was the rumor leading up that she was in talks to play the character of Jean Grey, which she
Right.
would be a great pick. But I am ready to see Fantastic Four fully rebooted here, and I think
And X-Men, yeah.
I actually think from a business standpoint, all of this makes some sense for Kevin Feige. Do Doomsday, do a Secret War. You do have all these movies still. Bunch of people want to do it. Bring them in. You don't have to pay Kelsey Grammer as much as you got to pay RDJ, like all these older actors. Have a giant battle, have a bunch of them finally die, and then set it up where you can really reboot the MCU and like let it just start a new fully thing. I actually just think business wise, the direction they're heading makes a lot of sense. So, well, that's just
Well, they dug that hole themselves, but yes, it does make sense to
yeah,
do
but
it this way.
you know, that is
I
where
know what
we
you
are
mean.
at. Can't play the woulda game. You know what I mean?
No, you always got to move forward.
But
You
yeah,
can't look
Sadie, I
back.
think is a great pick. She's a great actress. If she's Jean, awesome. If she's another MJ, I guess, cool. I would prefer her to be a hero, not just a damsel. I'd prefer her to be.
Mm.
I mean, Zendaya's not. I think Zendaya has a really strong character as her MJ. I don't think she's like always a damsel in distress, and I think she adds a lot to Tom. But I'm ready to see. And to be honest, I'm loving Daredevil. I'm a bummed he's not in this giant cast. I'd love to. I want to see
It's
him
never
fully
gonna
interact.
happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen, baby.
Yeah, maybe one day.
You don't bring them back to not have them in.
No, that's fair.
What do you think of
Uh,
Sadie?
yeah, I think out of the Stranger Things cast, she and Finn Wolfhard are gonna have the most interesting careers. Um, the projects that Finn is choosing are just very out there and different. That I think he's very curious about, like acting and the craft of filmmaking, and I think he's going to be continuing that path. And Sadie Sink, I think we've seen that she just has like something that younger audiences like. Like she just has that ability to do interesting projects, but like the way that she commands herself on screen is just something that is really gravitating towards younger audiences. So I think her being attached to a Spider-Man movie isn't like surprising necessarily, because I think the Stranger Things cast is going to have, chances for projects like this in general. But
I mean,
I think
Joseph
Sadie
Quinn
Sink
too.
is
Huge.
yeah,
Has become a
exactly.
huge star.
Yeah, for sure.
Bigger than most of them, honestly, other than maybe Millie Bobby Brown at this point.
And he jumped ahead. He wasn't even
Yeah,
in the
because
show the whole time.
he's been in better. Yeah, he's been in better projects. Millie has just made some bad stuff since leaving.
Hey, Netflix money is still good money, I suppose.
It's Jay. Amen. Amen. Get the bag, girl.
for what character she's playing, I don't know. I have no idea. Could be any red hair character. I just hope it's not like a Mary Jane variant, or they do something where it's like, oh, Zendaya was Michelle Jane or whatever, and this is Mary Jane.
Yeah,
They're
we really don't
completely
know her name, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
they I don't know. They've always been weird about like the name itself, but to me, she's MJ, and we shouldn't have another MJ. Not even a multiverse one. It's probably going to be a multiverse movie anyway. Like this, I just have a feeling it's going to be that.
Oh, you mean Spidey 4? You're talking about Spider-Man 4. You don't think it's going to be grounded? And isn't that a rumor that's going around that they are battling, that Marvel versus and Sony have been disagreeing about what this movie will be? Didn't Sony want it to be big budget, massive? I mean, they're going to be big budget no matter what, but like a massive multiverse story again and bring all the Spideys back. And
yeah, because it works.
Yeah, Marvel wanted it the other way around. They wanted to do more grounded.
I have no idea what they decided on. I just have a feeling that it's going to not be grounded. If it is grounded, I'll be happy, but I don't know.
I mean, you can do a grounded story where then Spidey, if my guess is that Falcon's going to ask him to join and he's going to say no, and then he's going to have his movie and he's going to realize probably that, I really can't just protect the neighborhood. I have been to space. I have to like actually fight. Maybe they'll just pull another Spider, his second movie where they pretend it's a giant multiverse project and it's actually not. It's just Jake Gyllenhaal with some drones. No Way Home, I think is the point. It is the moment where the fandom really became how awful it has been since.
Yeah.
I think it is 100% Spider-Man No Way Home. I think it affected a lot of people in the movie who love it or hate it one way or the other. But I do think that is what has caused this massive wave of we have to know everything. We need to be the first to put it out there. All these leakers and hackers and, losers is really what it is at the end of the day. Just go to the movie and enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, oh shoot, did I lose my train of thought? No, it wasn't you. Let's keep going. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well, you got anything else on Marvel? Should we move to something else?
No, I don't think we have anything else to comment on Marvel.
You want to move to DC and actually just talk about this Superman story? I don't think it was on our list, but you did bring it up to me a week or so ago.
Sure. I don't
the
even
amount
remember
of pressure it has on it. The pressure. That article you sent me.
I don't even remember this. You'll have to remind me. Go ahead.
Let me just pull her up.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not remembering. I've been sick this past week, so maybe that's why.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just, let's see what this article was. Warner Brothers, this is the headline. Warner Brothers Pictures' future may hinge on Superman's success. Is Peter Safran set to leave DC Studios? That's the article you sent me.
To possibly run Warner Bros. Pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think Peter is a huge piece to this puzzle. I really don't. I think his job is to just make sure James Gunn somewhat follows studio formula. I think that's his job. I don't actually think Peter Safran leaving, if he does, is a big deal at all. I mean, it's a big deal just because Warner Brothers loves to just constantly move directions like nobody's business. I know it's been a big topic if this Superman movie has more pressure on it. I know a lot of fans like to debate if it has more pressure than what Infinity War and Endgame had to deliver.
Which is so random. It's like, why not compare that to the first Avengers movie? Why not compare that to X-Men 2? Like,
just to make a fun debate. Then there have been other reports too, that Warner Brothers and Zazzy Boy are really worried that like this does have a ton of pressure, that they are struggling at the end of the day when it comes to putting projects out, which is wild because they just constantly put out great projects over and over and over on, smaller platforms they own. Like HBO has great stuff. You got The Last of Us about to come out. White Lotus is airing and very popular. But then you have movies Barbie and not Oppenheimer, but just Barbie that made you $1 billion you didn't expect. But then you also have massive flops like Joker 2. So that, the first one made $1 billion. So I do
Weird, not
think
everything
Superman
works.
has a ton of pressure. I saw something this morning about Superman. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this whatsoever. Probably not. But I saw
That's not be
somebody
good.
talking about early reactions to a test screening and that it was split 50-50 on the people that saw it, who hated it and walked out, and people who said they loved it, which I don't know if that's real. There was no article to back it up. There was no nothing.
I mean, if you have no reason to stay to watch the movie for a test screening, why wouldn't you walk out? Do you get paid for those? I don't know.
It
What's the
depends.
incentive to stick around?
Yeah, I mean, I
Even if
Googled
you're a little
Superman
bored.
reactions, and the first thing is from comicbookmovie.com, not a legitimate source. None of these are legitimate sources. They're just nerds who think they know. But go ahead, Kyle. What do you think about all this?
I do think there is some stock in Peter Safran possibly being a choice to run
Yeah, I think
Warner
there's
Bros.
definitely.
The studio.
Yeah.
I know that the two in charge right now are pretty well renowned when it comes to running studios and producing and stuff like that. I'm just basing on their names.
And it
currently.
wouldn't be who the position obviously isn't for the whole CEO of all of Warner Media, right? It's just for the movie division.
Right. It would be
Not
for the movies. Yeah. But I think I believe I remember right. I was reading somewhere that Zaslav has been disappointed by the two that are currently running Warner Bros. Pictures and thinking they're not doing a good job, even though he's above their pay grade and is deciding what crappy movies go to theaters versus what good ones go to streaming or become tax write-offs. But that's neither here nor there.
it is. Hang on, I got their names. It's Michael Day, Luca, and Pamela Abdi, who are the co-chairpersons and CEOs of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That is the job that they're looking at maybe replacing.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if Zaslav is looking for one final good reason to give those two the boot and then give Safran the job, even though I'm not sure why. I think you should wait and see how things like Superman and maybe one other project does before you give him a bigger position after one that he's barely started with running DC Studios or co-running DC Studios. And I don't know if Safran would even do a good job with the whole shebang in general, because he still has to answer to Zaslav, who clearly is just
an idiot,
weird when it comes to decision making about what goes to theaters or streaming or chooses to make these movies go away in general.
He's been a producer for Warner Brothers for a long time. I mean, he had his hand in The Monkey. He had his hand in the Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, Shazam, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, some of the Conjuring movies. Looks like all the Conjuring and Annabelle spinoffs. Tons of stuff. He's been there for a while.
Sure. Okay.
As a producer.
Okay. So I guess it is a guy that's been around more than I realized. I don't know. It's not like if it was Safran, it was some other producer's name and I would have any more information about it. I don't know these people. I have no idea if they're good at their jobs or not.
You know,
I just think there's some stock in it. I just think it could happen.
After hearing how good the show is, because the first 2 episodes just came out, I watched the first 2 episodes of Seth Rogen's The Studio.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Dude.
It's good.
It is so good, and it is it's exactly what we're talking about. I mean, Bryan Cranston in that is exactly how you think a ton of these idiots run their thing. Yeah. It's great. I really have enjoyed the first 2 episodes so far. I was about to cancel my Apple subscription because I finished Severance. God, how good is Severance?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get into it right now. Severance review.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll see how far we get before we have to talk spoilers, but Severance is one of the best shows on television right now.
Easily.
It just is.
It's cool
a show that's... Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that it was cool seeing the growth of people's awareness of the show now.
Yeah.
It's definitely hitting that stride.
And people are talking about what you and I have been saying on Movie Meals for 2 years, is that Apple TV has been the second best in the game and is now truly competing like to make, and arguably might be first. Like we've been saying that for years, that their streaming platform is seriously that good, that they are following more of what HBO does than they do what Netflix does.
Prestige
like they're
television.
And then and that now there's this report coming out that like Apple Plus costs Apple like a $1 billion loss every year, or something like that. Like they're not making any money, and it's
streaming
like
makes no one money.
No. And it's like Apple didn't do that to, like, Amazon isn't doing this to make money. They're doing it to make sure that you continue to buy their products. And like that is the truth.
It is
That's
true.
Just the truth. You know, because Amazon also has very good stuff.
On the plus side, some of their stuff's actually good.
It is good. Like, I mean, I will cancel my Netflix subscription before I cancel my Apple subscription. It's just the facts. It's just the facts. I mean, I can't remember the last Netflix show. Baby Reindeer was the last Netflix show and I guess Squid Game. The last two things I've watched, and those took, one was a surprise hit, and the other, was something we've been waiting years for. But Apple is really good. I like Silo a lot, but dang, season 2 was hard to see. Why are you so darkly lit? But Severance, anyway. Severance. I
wish I knew, Al.
Awesome. And some of the shots this year in Severance, and they, the directors came out and they're like, no CGI. We did that shot practically. And it's like, oh, that's just incredible. And it's so, when we talked about it last, I talked about how I wanted some answers to some things. I like, you couldn't leave me in the dark and everything. We got exactly what I was hoping for by the end. A couple of small little answers. I'm still left with massive questions. I'm left heartbroken. I'm left yelling at my TV. Like, that is good television. That is Breaking Bad. That is these great, great shows that have lasted. When you are sitting there being like, no, don't do that. Or like, yes. Like when you're truly getting hyped up, they actually know how to shoot their show. They know how to format it. The lighting in Severance is incredible. The performances, I love that Adam Scott is finally just really hitting with a hard Emmy-winning drama. Like, it's so cool.
He's crazy good. I remember being surprised by his acting chops in Big Little Lies on HBO.
Yep, and he doesn't have a huge role.
No, it's small, but he has moments where he really pops. So I'm happy that this is like a lead role for him. No, this love triangle between Mark Helly and Mark's wife, I wish I wasn't spacing her name now, but that I was very impressed.
Oh, no, you mean Miss Casey.
Miss Casey, thank you. I was very impressed by how gripped I was by that. I just because like we didn't know anything about Miss Casey's character necessarily, except that she was his wife originally. But then with that episode focusing on her and their relationship. Oh yeah, well I guess
I'm just trying to warn them before you get too deep here.
No, thank you.
Spoilers of Severance here. We got to talk about
it. An impressive episode of just like catching you up on that relationship and you being like, oh, I get it now. And then at the end, just being hit hard by her recognizing him.
Yeah.
And they're escaping. But then at the last second, he just sees Helly one more time and then is like,
it is
I'm
gonna
go with my gut on this one. And I'm like, don't do that. Yeah. Like, she's right there and you were almost out it.
And you have to really, I mean, full spoilers. The context is incredible because Miss Casey is now his wife. When she gets through that door, she has now been back into her Audi. And so all she sees is her husband that she just saw a second ago in the elevator, is abandoning her. And it's going to lead into some awesome stuff for this next season. Like, where are they going to run and hide to? They're running off into the hallway together. You're in the building. You're going to hide and live there forever. You're going to, like, they got to pull a full
squatting.
The F you, Mr. Milchick. Oh, it's so good. Zach Cherry too, as Dylan, has really shined, I think, in season 2. He has done such a great job. I've seen people, he's in Shang-Chi. He's just one of the, like, it is an extra. He's just a guy on the bus filming, and he has like a line. And I've seen a ton of people memeing that out, being like,
I think in Homecoming too. I think
Oh,
he has
maybe
a.
it's Homecoming. I thought it was
I
Shang-Chi.
think it's both movies, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got like this just bit part, and people have been like reposting it as a meme, being like the disrespect I gave this man before. Like I'm sorry I disrespected your game. It's so
Right.
good. The whole marching band with my boy Milkshake. Oh, I love it.
Milchik has become one of the
He's
most
awesome. He's awesome.
interesting characters. He's awesome.
I love
Because
Milkshake.
you can't stand him, but yet when you see
When
the
he's
chain of command of just being abused, and he's
back
just
there dancing.
following that chain of command, like it's weirdly, it can be weirdly relatable to people, I bet,
And all the
who are
stuff
in
with
like
the
positions
goat.
of power. Yeah.
It's just so good, dude. It's so good. They gave us this
Mhm.
season was so good. Their bottle episodes, they're just kind of side quest episodes are also just so freaking good when they're in the snow and they're doing all this stuff and you learn that Helly is also, is the daughter, right, of the big guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
remember his name, but I know what you're talking about.
and I personally, I have never been a big Ben Stiller fan. I
Mhm.
like I loved The Night at the Museum growing up. Dodgeball's a classic, but a lot of his
Sure.
movies, some of his comedy does not flow with me the right way. But like when he does stuff like Tropic Thunder, you love it. And I have become a huge fan because of what he has formed into a really great director and creative and coming up with this show, right? Didn't he create this show?
I think he was. I think it was just producing. I don't think he created. Maybe co-creator, but I thought someone else was the
Oh,
creator of it.
creator is Dan Erickson.
Okay, yeah. That guy needs to get more love. Like I know Ben Stiller has been directing some great episodes and is like probably a big producer on the show, but like give Dan his
This
flowers. That guy
this
is
boy,
crushing it.
Dan, made a show called Chambers in 2019. He was just a producer. That is the only other credit. He
Wow.
is the writer, wrote Severance, all 19 episodes out, and a short called Welcome to Lumen. And I think actually, no, I think I did know this, that the short is the reason this show exists.
Mm.
That he created this short with Ben Stiller. I did see this because Ben
Oh,
Stiller
okay.
was on he was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast.
Oh,
I didn't
cool.
listen to the full thing, but I saw some clips, and I saw clips of him talking about how they kind of created this show idea together, and it formed from this short film that they
Gotcha.
made.
Okay.
Um, that
It's
is amazing.
funny. It's funny story wise them making this in 2019, but it feels like a show that's reflective of like how people feel in the 2020s of
Yeah,
like of this decade that we're going through. And I can say that for a lot of movies and
it
shows, but I think for a show being as popular as it is, like there is something to that. Like I think there is a
100%.
relatability to this feeling of being trapped, this feeling of being isolated with your emotions, this feeling of like you need to break out of like this husk of a shell that you've become if you're going through
Yeah,
like emotional trauma or whatever type of trauma you have going. I some themes on identity I think are sprinkled throughout there. Themes of like losing your identity in within like a corporate structure, feeling like a corporate structure is just weighing down on you with no way out. Um, it's just very impressive for this show to be growing and it being popular, but thematic wise, it's really gonna. I think it's gonna become a show of like the 20s that defines like this decade.
I agree. I think it
Mm-hmm.
is just that good. Every time I watch a show like Severance, it makes me think of when big anime fans every now and then they start chirping again that like there are no good live action shows. Like anime is just true peak storytelling, and you constantly and it's like
What
my
a
guy.
weird take.
Well, the take is always like you could watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or you're just going to watch the same SVU episode. And it's like, all right, if you're going to talk serialized shows that are designed to cater towards your parents and all those things, and some of those shows are very good and they're very fun. And like, you get why people like them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then you go watch Severance, Game of
Mm-hmm.
Thrones for a while at its absolute
Yeah,
peak. You
yeah.
watch Ted Lasso, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, like all these shows that have really hit. And it's like you watch the OGX Watchmen, the show sequel show they made on HBO. Like it's just that is also called peak storytelling. This is that good. You got to stick the landing. Game of Thrones didn't do that. So another show that I think did stick the landing, Ted Lasso. And now we're coming back because the landing, we backed up a dump truck full of cash. I don't know if you saw it, but I did put out a short on our channel. But I have come up with the best idea ever. We actually should find out that Ted Lasso takes place in the same universe as Severance. And I think season 4 of Ted Lasso should be Ted getting severed. I think that'd be peak. Peak, Kyle, it's called Breaking the Money. Bryan Cranston's character in the studio is actually based off of me. I think this is $1 million idea. And then I think we get two versions of Ted, where the one on the outside who is done coaching is super nice, and then we actually get a mean version of Ted who actually is just a bad coach because he just yells and screams at you all day.
And then he rises towards the corporate ladder and becomes like a greedy owner. Yeah.
100%.
Story writes itself.
We are getting Ted Lasso season 4. And that was also announced on Jason and Travis's podcast, New Heights. And that's actually where the announcement came from. Jason Sudeikis was on the show and just said, yeah, we are doing season 4. He's like, I think it's out there. He said Ted's going to coach a women's team. It wasn't. He said Ted's going to coach a women's team.
Okay.
And the rumor I've heard since is that it is going, that some of the cast are coming back, but not everyone. But that Manchester United is the name of the team he coached for?
That sounds right.
That they're going to start a women's league, and they convinced Ted to join, and that maybe it's going to be based in the United States or something. And that's because Ted, goes home at the end of the show.
Right.
I know some people didn't love the ending of Ted Lasso. I personally did. I love a show that I think when you are a drama that battles with kindness instead of yelling, you are honestly maybe more smart than some other dramas out there. Like the fact that they hit their big, massive, dramatic beats in the way that they do, I think doesn't get enough credit. And I think it's because people are used to, no, I want the big dramatic fest that I see on HBO and these other networks. And I just think Ted Lasso is a brilliant show for not going in that direction. And when they do hit real hard, it's very real, and how you wished people would respond with that level of forgiveness and kindness and things like that. So I love Ted Lasso. I am very skeptical for what a season 4 can bring, but I'm open to it if everyone's coming back. And if Jason's going to be heavily involved and is like, no, we did come up with a good idea, it wasn't just about the money. And he doesn't seem like the type who would just fully be like, yeah, give me a dump truck full of money. It's not like he had done a ton but it's not like RDJ making 4 movies that just stunk. So then of course he came back as Iron Man. It's like,
right.
He hasn't really done anything. So where is this going to go? But what are your thoughts?
I know that we reviewed season 3. I don't remember what I said about like season 3 in general. Now for me, I don't feel like season 3 was a very strong ending. I just felt like some of the closure on things was a bit too rushed, and a lot of the arcs that characters went through didn't quite add up or didn't quite amount to anything.
Nate could have had a longer storyline, and I do agree. I think it worked, but I think there are parts that are rushed. I agree with you.
Yeah, so for me, I just see more complaints of the show there, with just season 3 not being as strong as season 1 or 2. Personally, I don't see the complaints that you're describing, that the show doesn't do drama in the ways of like yelling to emote or something as compared to showing compassion and kindness. I think that's what hooked people onto the show, honestly.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I'm saying I think the show deserves more praise for doing that. I don't think it's just talked about enough. I think when people watch it, and sometimes big emotional beats don't hit as hard for some people, and they're like, oh, this scene didn't work for me. I think they're looking at it from the lens of, oh, I wish they had a bigger dramatic moment, and I think that defeats the spirit of the show. I've seen sometimes people say that, but it's not like a
Gotcha.
huge criticism I've seen. That's just a point I'm bringing up. I think
Okay.
the show deserves more credit for doing that.
Okay, so I'll skip that past that point then. Thanks for clarifying. Um,
I'm
I'm
confused
hoping
with
that season 4 could be a good turnaround from season 3. I like the show very much, and I'm glad to see that it could keep going and could possibly redeem some of my issues with season 3. Although that's the danger of the game as well. It's possible that season 4 could also not hit. I mean, as a Young Justice fan, it was exciting for season 3 to happen for that show, but it didn't wind up being a good season. We hoped season 4 would be better. Not much better. So that's the worry of it all, is like, can it come back to like season 1, even season 2 um level compared to season 3? But we have to wait and see. No sense on dwelling on like the what ifs of it all, but yeah, I guess I was surprised that Sudeikis is coming back too. It seemed like he was pretty firm on wanting the show to end and to move on, but I don't know. Minds could be changed, whether it's money or otherwise. So
Yeah. Anything else as we kind of wrap up quick here that you wanted to touch on today?
no, I think we had a good episode today. I think we
Yeah.
crushed it.
All right, guys. Well, what did you think? Comment below. Let us know. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you to the patrons. Do those things. Tell us your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.
Yay. When do you